Platonic solids are 5 interlocking solids, which are the core patterns behind physical creation. 4 of the Platonic solids are the archetypal patterns behind the 4 elements in all creation: earth, fire, air, and water. The 5th pattern is the universal substance of creation, the 5th element known as ether or aether. It's also known as the element of love, the very underlying force of creation, which unites and balances the other 4 elementals into a perfected coherence as a design. Our notions of an emotional or sentimental human love have little to nothing to do with the actual power of this immense God force called love behind all of creation. In our divine blueprint, we were naturally harmonized to use these amazing God tools to automatically be in a state of coherence without needing to try to be. When our divine light architecture is online, as our growing light body and our mental and emotional bodies are united and harmonized, our vehicle of self and matter works effortlessly to create. This is the space where instant manifestation begins to reappear in our experience. Knowing we've been deeply conditioned into fear-based biological vessels that are running lower 3D programs via the subconscious, we know that for us, at this time, it does not seem quite so effortless. It can take immense dedication and practice to create this seamless cohesion that calls our divine blueprint fully into function. If we had achieved this, we would be walking on water like Master Yeshua. Again, he's an example of a cosmic level master who embodied the entire range of his Christic template to demonstrate our spiritual technology in its fullest capacity. It was a gift to humanity as a demonstration of remembering what we all have inside of us, waiting to be activated if we so choose. Of course, this was not a popular message for those who enjoyed controlling the children of light as energy sources. So the story was changed to say he was the only son, S-O-N, of God, meaning S-U-N, and the rest of humanity were lowly sinners. It was a convenient editing of the truth that locked much of humanity out of its own source memory matrix and full sovereign God powers as creator beings. Most of us aren't really interested in or destined to achieve this profound level of divine syncing and full Christed integration. But we're still achieving amazing things with our dedication to ascend to whatever level we find we're capable. Don't forget, the actual purpose of being here is to enjoy the physical human experience and become a freed and empowered creator being. So while it's fun to learn about the highest potentials of our being, there's no need to stress or hyper-strive with strain to achieve these feats of divine power. Unless, of course, that's your highest heart desire, and in that case, go for it. In this course, we're just covering the basics, and this is actually quite enough to recalibrate and change your human experience forever. Most of us are probably more interested in creating a satisfying and enjoyable life as a human walking around having an experience, but knowing that we're actually divine energy creating that experience. What an upgrade to your definition of self that is. It's a massive evolution in your perception of who and what you are, and it's really needed to work in these higher dimensional spaces that we're all learning about. Now back to the Platonic solids and the elementals. The cosmic aether or ether is also known as the mother's divine quintessence, which manifests itself into any geometrical wave pattern it chooses. Mother breathes life into these patterns via the Holy Spirit, creating offspring as multiple fractal patterns that are creations birthed into form matter from antimatter. Platonic solids arrange themselves in fractal patterns that weave the oceanic field into a blueprint that manifests a matrix in space. This is why we live in, breathe, and are the ocean. This is the concept of space as a matrix of light or a grid needed to have an experience in form. And then time is added to give us the perception of a progression of linked coherent events with a beginning and an end. It's like the story. This is a timeline. It's like a thread spun upon the oceanic fabric that gives us the perception of a linear past, present, future experience of time. We're going to talk about playing in the threads of time as timelines more in a later unit. These geometric wave patterns or divine blueprints are like instructions which interconnect the atoms with the same holographic patterns as the stars and their celestial patterns. That's what's meant when we hear that we are made in the image of Creator. Everything is beget from this primordial creational pattern, and as a hologram of source intelligence coding itself and recoding itself as fractals of the whole into everything. The scale of a Platonic solid shape can take any size, from a huge galactic emanation like a spiral galaxy to a tiny nanoparticle. But the ratios between them are the same geometries which follow the same holographic patterning. That's called a fractal. This reflects and follows the Hermetic principle, as above, so below. It's another way to say that we're created in the image of Creator at all scales and levels of creation as a hologram that is fractalized into many, many parts. Remember that also within the ocean, there are telephone lines, if you will, or subtle energy lines that form a weave or a web of light that connects the entire ocean together, which is what explains why we can think about someone and they're far at a distance in space away, but that person can receive that telepathic message because of that web of light, which is instantaneous. A grid is just a general term that's used to explain the multiple layers of the oceanic field which form, and it's what we call the unified field of living substance, and this is where all things in the universe are interconnected. The grid represents the space-time fabric of the layers of blueprints that are woven into manifestation of form and consciousness. Here's an analogy. It's not an exact analogy, but it helps. You can think of it as form being the lines of a drawing and consciousness being the blank paper, as a field holding the lines like the background fabric. But this drawing is only a two-dimensional object. The ocean is multidimensional. So form and consciousness are always present simultaneously, just like the lines on a drawing on a piece of paper. So using this analogy, when we describe density, as in third density as a form structure of matter, we mean the line of the drawing. And when we say dimension, such as a fifth dimension, we mean the paper as the space. But in a way, they're really not two different things. They're always together. And both are encoded with instructions from divine intelligence for how things work accordingly. Remember, the ocean knows everything, and everything is in the ocean. We're really creating maps to navigate and codes to unlock different parts or aspects of this oceanic fabric of infinite intelligence. And to really blow your mind, remember, you are the ocean too, so you're telling yourself what to do. Now we return again to the Platonic solids. All 5 of the Platonic solids are the building blocks of the sacred geometry, creation as a unified field, which include the same set of characteristics. In each of the solids, all the faces are the same size, all the edges are the same length, there's only one angle throughout the entire shape, and all points touch and fit into the edge of a sphere perfectly. This is the masculine straight aspect as particle or electrical photon as light, nested and entwined or ever present with the feminine curved or spiral pattern of the magnetic waves. The Platonic solids are geometrically formed and arranged into various groupings to form coding or instructions as the base structure of a light grid or a field of light substance that we call space. Metatron's cube, a certain geometry that we've all seen, is a visualization of the Platonic solids nested together to create the coding for third density, stepping up to higher dimensions. We wouldn't be able to hold the form of our own body in third density without this blueprint. Each level of Platonic solid dovetails or steps up to the next to access a higher dimensional platform. This is part of the Rainbow Bridge complex we're constructing. They build an important part of the bridge for us to enter and reach higher aspects of our own memory matrix. These Platonic solids as geometric forms are structures that actually form the multidimensional layers of consciousness and matter. They act as the building blocks, which are the manifestation template and your body, and all form for that matter. By activating them using visualization practice, you're starting the engine of your own light body. The visualization serves as a coded command to restore your own memory matrix by rebuilding a rainbow bridge. The intelligence of the ocean knows what you're intending, and it begins to support this intention by activating your own spiritual technology to the next level of functionality.